Hi, thanks for joining me today. So we are going to focus on some different variations of a yoga lunge today. There are many variations from very supported to a little bit more challenging, and all of them are beneficial for stretching through the hips, both creating strength and stability in the hips, and for stretching the quadricep muscle and the psoas muscle of the back leg and the hip flexor of the front leg. So we're going to work on some different variations of lunges today. So if you have yoga blocks, that would be great. Have 2 yoga blocks. If you don't, you can use an equivalent stack of books as long as your books aren't going to slip and slide around. Or if you have a small stool or chair, you can use that instead of the other 2 suggestions. So we're going to start with a little bit of a warm-up because we don't want to go into this sequence without a little attention to warming up the body. So we're going to start in table pose. So come to all fours. Spread your fingers wide so that your wrists are below your shoulders and your knees are below your hips. Think of the lowest ribs drawing towards the hips. So we're not letting ourselves collapse down. We're pressing away from the mat, lengthening through the crown of the head, press into the tops of the feet. So you can feel a nice engagement in the core muscles here, nice length through the spine. And then as you exhale, round the spine up towards the ceiling or sky, arching the back, get a nice stretch from the tip of the tailbone to the base of the skull. And then as you inhale, send the sit bones back, lengthen the front of the body. Take the gaze forward and up into your cow pose, feeling the stretch in the front of the body. So keep that going a few more times. Move with your breath. Exhale into our cat pose and inhale into cow pose. This is a great stretch for the muscles up and down the length of the spine. Great way to connect with your breath. So after your next exhale, come back to that neutral table pose. And then bring the hands a little in front of the shoulders, pressing into the fingertips again, base of the knuckles. Arms, hands are at least shoulders width apart, maybe a little wider. Curl your toes under, lift your knees, keep your knees bent, send your sit bones up and back. Come to a bent knee, downward facing dog. So same thing, think of engaging those abdominal muscles, lowest ribs drawing towards the hips, crown of the head lengthening towards the hands. Inhale and exhale, and then we're going to move in and out of this little sequence. So exhale, bring your knees down to the mat and uncurl the toes, fold back to child pose. Inhale, come back up to your table pose. Exhale, curl the toes under, sit bones up and back. Come back to that bent knee, downward facing dog. Inhale, come back to your table pose. Exhale and curl the toes, fold back to child pose. Once more, inhale to table pose. Exhale, curl the toes under, sit bones up and back, downward facing dog. And then inhale again back to table pose. From this table pose, take the right leg, step your right leg forward beside the right hand. Then you can take your blocks here if you'd like, or your hands can be on the mat. So hands resting on the block. So this is our first most supported variation of our lunge pose. We want to make sure that the knee and the ankle are in alignment, so we don't want the knee shooting past the ankle. And we want to feel a nice stretch in this back leg, but we don't want to be so far back that we're kind of dumping our weight into that back hip. So think of this nice supported variation here. Think of opening up across the collarbones. You can come up a little higher with your blocks, draw the shoulder blades together. Nice opening for the front of the body. So we're getting the stretch in the quadricep muscle and the psoas of this left leg, and then this nice hip flexion for the right leg. Hands can stay resting on your blocks, or again, you can be low, hands on the mat, but then go ahead and let your hands rest up onto the thigh. So again, we're lifting up a little higher. We're thinking of those shoulder blades sliding down the back, engagement of these abdominal muscles. And then next variation would be to bring the arms up and overhead if you'd like. Make sure you're breathing. Keep pressing into both feet, all 4 corners of that front foot, the top of the back foot, so we have energy in both legs. Inhale and exhale, and then very gently release the hands back down. If you were using your blocks or another prop, just move those out of the way, hands to the mat. Step the right leg back beside the left. Exhale, round the spine to cat pose. Inhale, find that nice cow pose as you lengthen the front of the body. Once again, exhaling and inhale, and then exhale, come back to your table pose, and now step the left leg forward. So the left leg steps up beside the left hand. If it doesn't make it all the way there, just take hold of your hand, or excuse me, wrist. Take hold of the ankle with the hand and step that foot forward. So we're thinking of pressing into both feet. Again, maybe we have these blocks underneath the hands at various heights. Again, whatever feels best for you. Make sure you're breathing. Inhale and exhale, and that front knee, again, we have this alignment not only this way, but this way too. So we're not letting this leg wing out or in. We're keeping that heel, we're keeping this bone aligned, that lower leg bone. And then again, option to come up a little higher, lifting the sternum, thinking of the collarbones being nice and wide. Inhale and exhale, and then again, arms can float overhead. So finding that stability, pressing into the feet, make sure you're breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. And then release the hands back down. Again, move the blocks out of the way, or prop out of the way. Come back to table pose. And then this time, hands in front, curl your toes under, sit bones up and back. Come to your bent knee, downward facing dog, but then gently begin to pedal through the feet. Press down through one heel, the opposite heel. Inhale and exhale. And then coming back to stillness, you can keep the knees bent or the legs straight. We're going to step the right leg forward once again. If you'd like, you can lift the right leg up, three-legged dog, and then bend the knee, draw the knee towards the chest, step that right foot all the way up. Lower the back knee down for a moment. Find your props again, your blocks or your chair or stool. And then curl the back toes under once again. We'll do a little rock forward and back across that back heel. So again, another variation, a little bit more strength for the legs here. Inhale, and again, your blocks can be as high as you'd like. Inhale and exhale. Then pressing back through that heel, lift the heart and the sternum. Inhale and exhale, and then release the back knee down. Move the props out of the way, hands to the mat. Curl the back with the back toes curled under, lift the knees, step right back to your downward facing dog. So doing that little transition. So we're building up the transitions a little bit here too. Inhale and exhale. And then bringing a little bit more weight into the right heel. Inhale, lift the left leg up. And then step that left leg up beside the left hand. Lower the back knee just again so you can find your props here. And then lift that back knee, press through that heel, and then roll a little forward and back across the toes of that back foot. Now alignment here too. Make sure that this leg is in a position, this front leg, that you're not shooting your knee too far past your ankle. We don't want any hyper extending or hyper movement in that knee joint. Inhale and exhale, and then pressing back through the left heel. You can lift the heart and the sternum, come up a little higher if you'd like, or again, just hands on those blocks. Inhale and exhale, and then release the knee down, just move the props out of the way, and then lift the back knee once again, step back again to your downward facing dog. Inhale and exhale. And now looking towards the hands, next variation, again, a little bit more weight in the left heel. Inhale, lift the right leg up. Stepping the right leg up beside the right hand. This time we're going to stay on the toes of the back foot. Step the foot in slightly. Toes are pointing towards the front of the mat. And we're going to inhale, bring the arms up and overhead, coming to a high lunge. So your back knee can be bent, getting that pelvis more underneath you, or you can press back through the heel, straightening that leg a little bit more if you'd like. Make sure, again, the heel of this front leg is a little in front of, or excuse me, the heel, yes, is a little in front of the knee. Inhale and exhale, and then release both hands down to the mat. So a little challenge here. We're going to step back to plank pose. Bring your right leg back beside your left. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Think of that strength in the front of the body, and then draw lower belly in and up, sit bones up and back. Come to your downward facing dog. Breath here. Inhale and exhale. Now a little bit more weight in the right heel. Inhale, lift the left leg up. Bending the knees, shift forward, step that left foot up beside the left hand. Back knee again steps in slightly. Make sure your feet are on railroad tracks. If you look back, you want that right foot over towards the right edge of your mat, not behind the left foot. Drawing the left hip back, float the arms up and overhead. Again, find your high lunge, finds a balance. So find a focal point. Maybe that back knee is bent a little bit, getting your hips a little bit more underneath you, or maybe you press back through that heel, straightening the leg a little bit more. May not straighten all the way, that's okay. Inhale and exhale. Most important thing is breathing. And then bring both hands back down to the mat, and we're going to step back again to that plank pose. One last little challenge here, lengthen through the crown of the head. Then drawing lower belly in and up, sit bones up and back, come to your downward facing dog. Take a breath. Inhale and exhale. And then release the knees to the mat. Uncurl the toes and come back to a child pose. Hips towards the heels, forehead towards the mat. You can use your block here or your stack of books if you need, or just stack up your hands and let your forehead rest on your hands. Connect with your breath. Full inhales and exhales. Notice how you feel. Another breath here. Inhale, full exhale. And then very gently coming up to a comfortable seat. So thank you for joining me for that sequence today. So it shows a progression of our work through our variations of lunge. And when you're warming up, you want to start low to the ground, use those supports, keep the knee down. When you get warmed up a little bit more, you want to challenge yourself a little bit more, you can do the high lunges, which are again more balanced. You can do those close to a wall, or if you're doing this at the barn, a fence or anything that if you want to have help with your balance, you can grab onto something. You're working with that high lunge. But great postures to work on the hips for riders, very beneficial. So thanks again for joining me today. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you like this video, and check out in the information section below about Grey Horse Yoga and the classes that I teach there. So have a great day, and I hope to see you sometime soon in the saddle or on the mat. Thanks. Bye-bye.